deceiver is constantly giving you false channels of power. If you are not centered and balanced in self and completely aware, you will go down that path. What they don't get about me is it only takes me to walk a quarter down that path to turn around and go back the other way. You motherfuckers walk these rabbit trails for your whole lives, trying to be pigeonholed as an auditor. That's not what we're here to do. You know what the best auditor is? A non-auditor. When I went to the court to handle my business and I spoke the word of truth into the spirit of these officers, they fell at my feet, some of them. The ones who arrested me, I love them. I allowed them to take me. I gave them the truth of the word. And weeks later, they said, Paulie, we want to learn from you. We want spiritual guidance and teaching. We've been here 30 years and we hate ourselves and our life and we want better. Okay? You want to get out there and make adversaries out of these folks? They're going to beat shit down your leg, as the little redheaded stepchild said. You don't got what it takes, fuck nuts. All you auditors, I could hear it in your voice. I don't even have to see you. You ain't ready for people in this physical realm. You don't have what it takes, punk, coward, weak-ass motherfucker. So you better go where you have power, the metaphysical realm. Okay? The sixth sense, the truth, the spirit, love, and care. If you use that, it'll be your greatest weapon. If you keep trying to yell at these people and make enemies out of them, they're going to come for you, and you're going to cry. And I'm going to laugh, because I've been waiting for it.
That was Mr. Unslaved, effectively known as Your Daddy, or The Daddy, or Paul Enslaved, whichever one you want to choose. So that was an interesting segment, and I wanted to cut that tiny little piece. You know, to all you people out there, it was like, you can't use Paul's stuff. I asked him, okay? I went online and I asked him straight to his face, and he said yes, that he trusts me and that to use what I want. All right, so go fuck yourself. That's an interesting part. When he starts it off there, the deceiver is always giving you false channels of power. Like everything that he says, even the small little things that he says is just like, bang, man. I can just identify with it so much by observing my own being, you know. And that's one thing that we have to, as men and women as well, we have to really understand that, like, this idea that we have power, it's going to come to a quick end for all of us. You know, as I certainly suffered by thinking that I had power, didn't, you know, and good that I found that out, and I had to go through a lot of stuff, simply because that's how you grow, that's how you learn, that's how you develop, that's how you go to the next level. All right, so that opening line, the deceiver is always giving you false channels of power. Observe it. It's happening. Everyone's a tyrant. It isn't just the men and women in the government. That's just the apex or the higher grade. Everyone's a fucking tyrant, dude. Everyone you know. Everyone's trying to have power over everyone. It's a fucking joke. But anyway, and then he goes into talking about the auditors, the people, the police in America and in Europe and all over the world, to a certain point, are auditing the police. You know, but we're kind of playing into their game. We have to play. I understand what he's talking about. That's why I want to touch on it, because we have to understand that we have to play a completely different game to get out of this in any way whatsoever. Because we can't come at it. You know, the Christed story is really what we need to do on an individual basis. We need to start training and learning and developing. Because if we're going to fight fire with fire, you know, if we're going to fight fire with fire, we can't come at it that way, because we're going to make enemies of everyone. That's why I believe Christ said, love your enemies, even though I don't agree with that completely, but I understand it. I think another formation of that word is understand your enemies, or understand your enemies, because when you do, anyone that comes against me, I'm going to take it as a personal attack, right? Even if their other man or woman is right, I'm still going to take it as a personal attack. You're attacking me. You're attacking me. We have to come at it from another perspective. All right. And if we don't learn to control our emotions and not let our emotions take us over and fear, and we don't live in faith, if we don't do that, we're going to, even if we're right, we're still going to be wrong, because we're not going to get out of it that way in any way whatsoever, on a personal level or later on. All right, so just a quick tiny story which relates to that. I mentioned the story before when I was arrested by the police last year. Just something silly. The airport police picked me up because I was filming, But anyway, I stayed silent in the cell for about an hour just to observe how these guys were going to go on, react to me, how I was going to react to them, just observing all of it. I do that a good bit. I do silly things sometimes to observe in the moment how other people react and how I react, even if I don't really want to do it, right? So, but that's how you develop. That's how I have developed anyway. I know I've developed because I feel different inside. I have different perspectives from the internal spaces, which is where we all live. If you think you live in a house, you're deluded. You don't only live in a house. You live in a you stay in a house every now and then, okay? But we live in internal space, right? So when the police came and I explained to them what I was doing, and I didn't want to give the name for certain reasons, and I didn't want to be fined, and I'm not happy that we're living in a system where we can just pick people up and put them in the back of cars and take them off somewhere in handcuffs. Yet I've done nothing to no one. I've explained anyway. So just to cut to the end, because I've told the story before. When I walked out of the police station with a cop, with the two policy officers, I walked out. It was boiling hot, so I had no top on. And I walked out to where the car was, where there's loads of airport people. And I walked out, and I was just talking to the two of them, just like men. And I could tell the way that they were talking to me, and they were talking about certain things, to what happened a couple of years ago as well, what they wouldn't go along with. So I was just talking to them as men, and they were very cool, and they were nice to me, and I was good to them, right? And I remember thinking, even afterwards, that I had such power because the way I talked to them, the way I presented, the way that I wasn't trying to be their enemy in any way whatsoever. And when I shook their hand, they shook my hand. And there's all the airport people everywhere. And there's me like a knacker with no top on or anything. And they had such respect for me, I could tell. And I was the one that was in charge in a way. All right. Now go back to what Paul was saying. Adios.